Army that the biggest thing that sticks with me when I was evaluating my choices is that everyone wants five things when they're leaving the military. They want to live where they work. They want to love what they do. They want to love the people they work with. They want to make good money and they want to work reasonable hours because those are basically the things, for the most part, we don't always get to do in the Army. So when I came out of the military, I was like, you got to choose three. That was the one thing the Honor Foundation impressed upon me. You got to choose three. I was like, I need to live where I work because I can't be traveling everywhere and still be mom and wife and everything like that. I need to make good money because I was accustomed to a certain standard of living with my paycheck and didn't know what VA or retirement was all going to look like. I still need to make good money. And I wanted to work reasonable hours. Done were the days that I wanted to work from 5:30 in the morning to 7 o'clock at night. I was at Cisco for about 10 months. And I started to realize that maybe those three that I picked, which Cisco fit perfectly, really didn't fit who I was as a person. It was a remote work. I sat right here at this desk, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, took meetings, but it wasn't fitting. I felt like I was on this hamster wheel, and you see like the row of people who are just stamping the time card, and then you look over and it's the same row of people, but it's a graveyard, and that's what they do their whole life. And that's what I felt like. I felt like I was just punching a time card, wasting my life away, doing this job that at the end of the day, all I felt like I was doing was making sure Chuck Robbins was getting his next round of golf. I was happening to be on Facebook one day and I saw the cookie truck, Cookies and More, mobile bakery here in Southern Pines, was for sale. A little backstory of Cookies and More: it was the second owner who was putting it up for sale. I actually knew the original owner. Her and I, we served together for a tour in Afghanistan. And she sold it when her and her husband PCS to California. And I immediately called her. I was like, what do you think? And she was like, you need to buy it today. There's so much potential in that business that with your military background, you could take it in so many different directions. So I inquired about it. I had talks with the owner. And once I saw everything, I'm like, I could do this. I could do this.
This was how long ago?
I started talking to her in January of last year. I actually purchased the business February of last year, and it's been a ride. I will say the cookie truck, it wasn't a business I started from the ground up, but it has been ripe with challenges. And I joke to people that where one of my goals before was work reasonable hours, I threw that out the window. Where I went working from 40 hours, I now probably work 140 hours a week. But it doesn't feel like work. It's something I enjoy to do. Of course, there's days of frustration and challenges, but I really realize that I'm much happier working for myself. And at the end of the day, the success is my team's success. The failures are my failures. And it's like I have complete control on whether or not we do certain things or not, which has become very freeing for me. It's been a great ride thus far.
Location in mind for this truck, where you were going to sell cookies or where you were going to keep it at night?
One of the positives about buying the business already established. Here in Southern Pines, we have a food truck park called Red's Corner. The previous owner had a contract with Red's Corner that the cookie truck is at Red's Corner Tuesday through Fridays and certain Saturdays a month. I continued that contract. That's almost become like my brick and mortar. My trailer that's parked there at least 4 to 5 days a week is my brick and mortar. I also have a separate truck that I take out exclusively for events. It looks like the old FedEx bread truck. Luckily, my dad taught me how to drive stick shift, so I can drive it. So I actually have two vehicles to be able to sell cookies out of. The majority of my business does come from there at Red's Corner. I'm able to take my other truck out to events. For example, in 2 weeks, I'm taking it to an Easter egg hunt that's here in town. My truck will be at the Carolina Horse Park here next week for a big international horse competition. We go to Fayetteville, we go to Sanford and around the local area. The one trailer, that's the Red Corner baby. That's the brick and mortar. And then the other truck, based off of different events and fairs and things that are going on around the state of North Carolina, I take the other truck to there.
What did your husband think of all your ideas?
Luckily for me, he's been very supportive of the whole entire thing. The first time I always bring an idea to him, he's learned over 18 years, he's gone, okay. He's like, I'm going to let you mull that over a little bit before I give you my opinion. And then when I came back to him, I was like, no, I really think I want to do this. Like I ran the numbers. He's a numbers guy, and which being a logistician, I'm a numbers person too. And when I ran the numbers and I was like, I really think we can do this. He was completely supportive because he saw how my corporate job was sucking my soul. He was like, you're not happy. You go in, yeah, you do the job and you like clock in, clock out. He was like, even on your worst day in the army, you still, because you had that mission, you had that focus, you knew at the end of the day what you did mattered. You've lost that in your corporate job. And while cookies doesn't actually mean the same thing as the army, there's a mission there. I had one woman who came right after I bought the truck, and I will never forget this woman to the day I die. She comes up to the truck and she is just distraught. And she was like, can I get a couple cookies? Yeah, absolutely. And I was like, are you okay? And she was like, actually, I'm not. She's like, I'm about to take my dog to the vet that have him put down, and this is his last meal. I'm gonna give him cookies. And it like broke my heart. I gave them to her for free. I was like, here, and have a couple for yourself afterwards. But the fact that my product, my service is something that can comfort people in a time like that really resonated with me. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. I am supposed to be able to bring this happiness to people. This past weekend, I had a line out my truck for hours all day. And only until I ran out of cookies was anybody upset. They didn't mind standing in line. They knew they were going to get a quality product, that's something that tastes good. And who doesn't love a cookie? The only thing my husband doesn't like now is that he's become unpaid labor. So when something breaks on the trailer, or can you move the trailer tonight? I told him maybe this year I'll put you on the payroll. We'll ask the CPA if it makes sense. But